Welcome back to our podcast, Footlong With American Cheese. Last episode, we forgot to introduce ourselves. My name's Andrew.
My name's Misbah.
My name is Anik Rakesh Patel.
And I am Owen.
Last episode, we ended off with English colonization.
Which was period one.
Yeah, period one. Which that kind of leads into period two with the King Philip's War, which was known as Metacom's War. It was a major conflict between the New England colonists and various Native American tribes and their chief Metacom, or King Philip as they called him. And it arose due to the increasing Native American frustrations with encroachment on their land as well as cultural assimilation.
You say it arose, right?
Huh?
You said it arose,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Arose is rice in Spanish, if you guys didn't know that.
Very cool.
Okay.
No, I just thought that was cool. I'm sorry.
All right.
We also have some observers today in our podcast. Hey! We got George, we got Solomon, and we got Adam.
And
their mouths are duct taped, so they can't say anything, but they are here. Make some noise.
Same idea.
They're here on their own volition,
They're all tied to the same pole.
but they agreed to it. All right.
No, they did not. No, they did not.
Okay,
Guys, let's get back to the podcast.
Let's get back to the podcast. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So we left off with the English colonization.
Yeah, there's some continuations of this English native conflict. The encomienda system develops further, greater pushes of Christianity. And this leads to one of our big native events in period two, which is the Pueblo Revolt.
That we referenced last time, but the Pueblo Revolt. It's very important.
You want to explain that?
Well,
Yeah, so Pueblo, like itself, means town. So it was a revolt in this small town.
Where was this?
This is in Pueblo.
Okay, this guy. No, it was like in the Arizona area. This is like in present day, like like Southwest. Yeah,
New Mexico.
to be exact.
Yeah, the town of Santa Fe, which is the capital of New Mexico.
Joe, fact check this real quick.
No, trust me. I
Okay.
put everything on it.
Oh, you put everything on it? All right.
Yeah.
New Mexico, but anyway.
All right, so it was incited by the Catholic missionaries that we talked about last period, which basically forced their religion onto these Native Americans and persecuted them, which led to them
This is a big conflict, yeah.
Yeah, retaliating back at them and expelling them for 10 years. That was the Pueblo Revolt.
yeah, and then after this, we mentioned last session that
This led to the Pueblo Revolt. The result of it was
the Spanish treated them better.
the Spanish did. So that was kind of a resolving of some of this American.
That was a rare Native American victory.
rare,
Very rare.
unfortunate, but no, a fortunate win, but unfortunate they didn't win too much. Kind of sad.
I have no opinions, actually, based on whether I want the Natives to win or lose. I'll not be sharing any of my personal viewpoints.
This is a
Do you have to say that?
Yes.
Okay.
'Cause I feel like you're being really biased right now.
I
Okay.
think it's perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. We don't have to be biased. And something. Yeah. All right.
I think we should move on to African slavery and why it was so crucial.
African slavery was pretty crucial because, or not crucial, but really grew in this period. Columbian exchange. Explain
Yes. Okay, so the Columbian Exchange sent slaves to the New World, and it sent Old World crops back to the New World to feed the economy, and which led to a population increase in the Old World. And there was a higher demand for slaves from the Old World, such as Africa, well, only from Africa, because they had Old World genes, which meant they were accustomed to the diseases that were brought forth from the Old World. And all the Native Americans in the New World were dying off because their genes were not used to these diseases.
Labor shortage.
And so about like 90% of them died. And so they realized that, they needed these slaves from the Old World, and like kingdoms like Mali were like dishing them out for like trade. I think they wanted a lot of gold. They're focused on mercantilism. And so a lot of slaves began working for the Spanish colonies.
All right.
Yeah.
For those who don't
that was a
understand,
big conflict because these weren't indentured servitudes like they were in period one or these white people.
These were property.
They were considered
property.
Chattel slavery, where people are shipped and moved like property, have no rights, no hope of becoming free. They're just captured and they are property for the rest of their lives. This is a big conflict, both at the time and moving forward throughout American history.
for those who don't understand, the triangle trade was trade between Africa, mostly Europe, like Great Britain, and the New World. The New World gave back crops such as maize and other crops, potatoes. And the New World gave horses and processed goods and other stuff like that.
They gave them guns too.
And
Well,
guns.
yeah, this actually led to a lot of infighting. Because now with natives armed with old world technology, it was less of a massacre and more of like a
Organized resistance.
Similar,
organized resistance.
They also
They
have
still
better transportation with the horses,
Yeah.
which makes them get around.
similar with Africa too, because they also gave guns and horses to Africa as well in return for slaves.
Uh-huh.
Because there was a lot of infighting in Africa.
Yeah,
and
that's not
that's
American.
That's world
It's
history.
AP
That's
World History.
that's
Flashed
world
up by
history.
David Jonah in this school.
David Jordan the GOAT.
Yeah. Well, we can't say that in front of Mr. Garvey. We can't say Miss Jones the GOAT.
All right, Mr. Garvey the GOAT.
Well, Mr. Garvey is the best teacher, but David Jonah teaches the best class. So I said there'd be no bias
I
in this
plead the
episode.
fifth.
That's gone out the window.
This
This
guy.
guy.
What? Why?
Mr. Vegas can come here.
Wait, who is?
Like the period's over, Mr.
Oh,
Vegas.
after a brief intermission, we are back in Andrew's room because we got kicked out by Mr. Vega. And we also lost Owen along the way.
This is why AP Euro sucks.
All right. So where were we? So slavery, beginning the Columbian Exchange.
Yeah, I mean, Anik was explaining the Columbian Exchange.
I did explain it just to recap. We were sending slaves from Africa to the New World to work on plantations to replace Native Americans because they were dying out. And we were sending the crops from the New World to Europe to boost their economy, alright?
Speak up, sir.
Okay. Just to reiterate what I was saying, we were taking slaves from the Old World, specifically Africa, to fill the roles that Native Americans were taking up because they all died out in the New World. And then we're sending all that produce back to and goods back to Europe to sell.
Yeah, okay. And this caused conflict kind of because, slavery. That's not too great. This led to a big conflict in the U.S. We already said that though, I think, right? We said Pueblo Revolt. Yeah, all right. And Andrew is gone. Oh, he's getting his notes. Never mind. Bacon's Rebellion. Bacon's Rebellion is when the
Indentured servants.
and
right?
and African slaves.
They want to create like some type of like
No, wasn't it slavery?
war
It was-
between them.
I believe it was that the conflict was that slaves were taking up the labor of indentured
No.
servants.
No.
Bacon's Rebellion is when they were like together. This is the big conflict.
Oh.
This kind of leads to the
Please,
big whole.
please educate me then.
Okay, so the Bacon's Rebellion is when the lower classes were kind of grouped as one. Like slaves and indentured servants were kind of working in the same areas for the rich people, and they're like, hey, we're all working like slaving away for these guys. How about we rebel and fight back? And then after that, the poor people lost this battle. Kind of, the rebellion's put down, and then from this point onward, this is when we see more racial. This was in England. This was in like not England, but like New England territories. English colonists.
The Northeast.
Yeah, no, but
Across eastern
these
seaboard.
weren't Spaniards. These weren't Spaniards. But this conflict was the aftermath was that the lower classes were split up by white and black. So now it wasn't not one united lower class, but they were separated, so they couldn't rebel as easily, which led to like the whole
The failure
and
of
it kinda-
Bacon's Rebellion.
Yeah, it
yeah,
kinda,
the failure of Bacon's Rebellion, but also set a precedent towards that like racially based slavery and not just like class based slavery. It broke up the lower class so they wouldn't be able to like unite against the upper class as well.
Yeah.
And this set like a precedent.
Mhm.
That's enough about like a push. Let's talk a little bit more about AP Lang. We have the Pilgrims and the Massachusetts Bay Colony. We know with Model of Christian Charity and stuff. John Winthrop, that guy. You guys remember him?
Yeah.
Johnny. A conflict there was, remember Anne Hutchinson? They banished her to Rhode Island, which saying banished to Rhode Island just sounds kind of funny in its own way. But they did that because
Wasn't it she was trying to have like extra rights for women? But,
Yeah,
like,
she
it
says,
went
like-
against like the word of God.
she said like women should get more rights, women should be able to have more freedom and participate in their own like legislative
So
body.
the conflict was man versus God at the time.
Yeah, sort of.
Man being
What is it, second grade?
Man being an objective term for humans.
Yeah. No, but it was just kind of like religious intolerance in the sense that like people don't have a voice and like especially like women don't have a voice, and this remains a conflict for a very long time. We see a lot of seeds for conflicts in these opening periods.
It's because they realize the rights they have, which was like kind of inspired with John Locke, with his like theory of natural rights, life, liberty, property.
Yeah.
And
We saw this with the Enlightenment in Europe, which carried over to the Americas, and a big conflict in this era was just trying to secure these rights. We see that more directly in period 3.
Yeah,
with,
through the Bill of Rights and the Constitution.
But we're not there yet.
But yeah,
So,
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll cross our bridge when we get to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of crazy religious people, sorry, Andrew. The Salem witch. No, you're not Protestant. You're not Protestant.
yeah, I know.
Can we cut that out?
No,
That's unprofessional.
it's a podcast.
Yeah, come
I
on.
thought we were supposed to not get biased in.
It's
things.
not biased,
No,
bro.
it's a podcast.
Just keep talking.
Okay.
Yeah, the Salem witch trials was like a event of like social tension and fear in Puritan society. People were afraid of each other due to religion. They said, I actually have no clue.
They just hung women for like if they knew how to read or knew how to do anything that a man could do but better. They basically accused them, and it
Yeah.
was started by women too, which is kind of pretty ironic.
Yeah, that's kind of
I
sad.
hate, I hate the foreshadow again, but do you think this inspired Republican motherhood?
Really, the Salem witch trials?
Well, like,
Well, I think Hutchinson inspired me.
that's what I was talking about. Like, they were
Yeah.
trying to stop a Republican motherhood, but it led to that.
That's
Obviously.
not a stretch at all. That's reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah, the Salem witch trials kind of highlighted like societal misogyny, and that was a big conflict at the time and throughout U.S. history. Like we see another seed of that. Oh yeah, we got the. Remember when like Georgia was admitted as like a colony?
Oh yeah, because to act as a
I know.
buffer zone between the Spanish and the English, right?
Yeah. Okay. No, but this caused like tensions with like the Native Americans, like because now besides like the 13 colonies being admitted, we see this fundamental struggle against Native Americans as they just keep getting pushed further and further, like south and west.
And we know that led to the Yamasee War, and that ended up with between English settlers and the natives, and the English settlers won, and that led to like, as we've seen through a common theme with American settlement, the Native Americans have just got expelled from the region.
Expelled.
Extinguished. Their presence was extinguished.
Unfortunate. But then also with AP Lang, remember Jonathan Edwards, that guy? Sinners in the hands of an angry God.
Yeah, so he basically preached sermons that combine the Enlightenment values and religious ideals, which he proceeded to write sinners in the hands of an angry God, which we read in class.
Yeah, it was a very like angry and like just very forceful message saying like, hey, you guys, we need to
It basically lit the fire of the Great Awakening.
yeah, no, not necessarily, but it embodies a conflict because people are like very angry, religiously intolerant. They're saying religion needs to be this way. We can't have freedom. We can't like have acceptance. We need to follow this very specific mold if we want to be a good nation. That's just a fundamental conflict in the sense of intolerance. You know?
I guess.
No, because like instead of like having to follow like a very like a more open, more inclusive religious environment, it's like very narrow, very on rails, very strict, and it's like very fear mongering too. I knew like George Whitefield and stuff.
He got people in check.
Jonathan Edwards, that was his goal. But like George Whitefield.
It's Whitfield.
Is it Whitefield?
Yeah.
No, George Whitefield was like very inspiring, like very like nice to the people. He said he got them wanting to do religion for their own benefit. Says, hey guys, you can do this yourself, which is like more the ideal for religion in America, right?
Yeah, it was a very liberal take on religion in America.
Yeah.
Unconventional.
Yeah.
Unconventional, yes. He's
Yeah,
definitely the
yeah.
minority group in the
Yeah,
situation.
I know. The Constitution wasn't really passed yet, and there's no like freedom of religion. But like George Whitefield kind of embodied that in the sense of like, hey, you can like do religion your own way. You don't need this clergy. Well, Jonathan Edwards kind of the opposite. It's like you people need to.
You people.
He's like, you sinners, you.
In the hands of angry God.
Yeah, in the hands of an angry God. You need to get out of the hands of an angry God. and make him like a happy guy. I'm sorry, that was a very
That was written by Edwards, by the way.
yeah, that was a very important trip. Yeah, no, he was saying basically that people need to follow the religion better. People need to follow in this way, and making people afraid of hell rather than wanting to actually like, do religion for themselves and to better themselves, which I think, yeah. I don't think that was... I think that's a fundamental American conflict in the sense of intolerance. Because we see later with nativism, people will do that with Catholicism, and that wasn't too great either, and that's like another seed of American conflict.
That is not good.
Yeah, that's not good. And then now we're gonna look with this Great Awakening and the Enlightenment. We're gonna start to see more like so the British. We're gonna see this light enlightenment. People want those natural rights. People want those enlightenment values like life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. But that's gonna be for our next episode, period 3, A push. We're gonna see more conflicts with the British, more life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, all that wonderful stuff. Salutary neglect. Can you guys say something?
Yeah, my bad. We'll see. We'll see you guys next time.